What's going on, everybody? This is Sleeveless Mike of Raw Dog Sports. I am back for day 6 of 32 mock drafts in a row. That means we're on to the 6th pick, and that is my favorite team, the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns. All right, so I'm not going to take more than 20 minutes. I'm going to try to not belabor too many points, but this is my favorite team. I have some thoughts. There are different things that have come up that has happened throughout free agency. We've improved the offensive line in different areas. So I have some things that I very specifically want out of this draft. I hope that the board falls that way. We will see. A lot of times I feel like I kind of get fucked when I'm picking for the Browns. We'll see if that happens here. I hope it does not. But without further ado, let's crack a motherfucking rip it. Rocking the which one was this again? That active Mandarin live wild lime. These are so good. They're not great for you, but goddamn, they taste delicious. Yup. That's how we do it. All right, here we go. Let's get into this mock. Browns picking at 6. 7 rounds. None of the sliders have been adjusted, so we maintain the same thing. All right, there's a lot of teams that say their top need is wide receiver. Nobody has taken wide receiver at any of the other mock drafts. We'll see what happens here because, not going to lie to you, that's where my heart lies right now. I hope there's the receiver that I want at 6. This will be a very quick first pick if that's the case. Let's start it. Oh, my God, and he's there. Carnell Tate. This is the fucking slam dunk. Carnell Tate at 6. This should be the pick. The best tackle in this class is Maui Noah, without question, in my mind. Now, there are people that think that there are other people that are coming up to kind of press that. A lot of guys like Lomu, wouldn't put Lomu anywhere near the same level as a Maui Noah. Let's see, who else do we got in that class? That's Freeling is getting a huge rise, drafted up to 13th now, ranked 13th. So he's making a big jump up the boards. But for me, Maui Noah is the best. And the Browns just went out and signed Titus Howard to a 3-year deal. It would make no sense to me with the Browns' history to draft Maui Noah and move him to the left side. We tried to do that same shit with Jedrick Wills. It did not work. I do not like the idea of trying that again when you're trying to solidify the left tackle position, which is what they would need to do right now. DeJuan Jones is penciled in as the starter over at left tackle for the Cleveland Browns. Andrew Berry did tell me at the combine that he would factor into the way the line was reshaped. What that means, I don't know. Could he be the starting left tackle once the season opens? Maybe. That would really throw off what I do here in the draft. But this one's too easy. It's Carnell Tate, and it's Carnell Tate all day. Multiple years of production. I mean, he sat behind just a staple of Ohio State wide receivers, waited, earned his keep. And then you look at this number, this fucking contested catch number, 85.7% contested catch rate. Do you know what Cleveland was terrible at last year? Going downfield and winning jump balls. And it's because their wide receivers were wildly undersized. There was a small wide receiver room. We've got a lot of pieces that can do a lot of kind of interesting dynamic things. Malachi Corley, I think, is going to be fun. I like Isaiah Bond. Jerry Jeudy is a really good route runner, but we don't have a dude that just goes up and wins a fucking jump ball. Carnell Tate is that guy. He's not quite the best at it at the contested catch rate, but he is a phenomenal route runner. I mean, he learned at Ohio State, Brian Hartline. Those guys know how to play football. They know how to run routes. They are excellent with their tempo inside their route. And then you add his big frame and his contested catch win rate. I mean, 6'3", 195. Give me Carnell Tate And I'm not even thinking twice about it if he's there on the board at fucking 6. Now, moving to the second draft pick in the first round, 24. I'm looking at tackle. Now there are some names here that I do like, but man, it feels like this is a little bit of a reach, especially with the way these guys are moving. Now, Max Ironacre, I like him, but he's also a right tackle. You can't really slide him over the same way that I was just talking about with Maui Noah. Caden Proctor, I mean, played a lot of left tackle, but I feel like he's going to project way better as a right tackle. I don't see the switch from right to left being nearly as easy as going from left to right. So it kind of leaves us with a Caleb Lomu here at 24. And I mean, the PFF numbers are not great. Nice kid. Talked to him at the combine as well in the media veil. This feels like a massive, massive reach right here. So, now Blake Miller could be in play, but that's another right tackle. I don't like the idea of switching guys over. Caden Proctor is the only true left tackle right there. Denzel Boston would have been an option as well. Another really high contested catch rate guy. But man, I was really hoping Freeling was not going to be there. He hasn't been there for the last couple of days. They just signed Tevin Jenkins. They just signed Zion Johnson. Eldon Jenkins is fucking signed as well, who's really a guard, but has been slid into center at the moment, according to the depth chart. So you don't necessarily consider going guard here with a Pregnon at 24, even though listen, I really like him. The positional value is not great here. I'm not going quarterback. That's for goddamn sure. We're going to let Shadur go out there and see what he can do and make sure if he can win the camp battle. But, oh, God. Listen, Caden Proctor played at a really good program. I don't necessarily love all of his movement skills. Like, I think that for as big as he moves okay. But I'm worried about him moving really well at that size at the NFL. With the board the way it is and no trades happening here, that is going to be the place I go though. Because I need a left tackle. I would rather have Caden Proctor over Blake Miller and switching him over to the other side. Now Blake has played left tackle in the past, but not consistently. So give me Caden Proctor here at 24. I don't love it, but you know, we are where we are. All right, continuing on to pick 39. Pregnon goes right before. That stinks. But you know, with all of the signings the Browns have made, and let's talk about them real quick. We've got Zion Johnson coming in, guard. Elton Jenkins is an offensive line. I think he's, like I said, he's just slid over to center right now. Tevin Jenkins was re-signed, offensive lineman. Kalia Davis was brought in on a 1-year deal, D tackle. Quincy Williams, 2-year deal, linebacker. Jake Stoll, tight end, on was a 1-year deal. So we just went out and got a really good tight end last year. We have really crappy depth at corner right now, in my opinion. God, and we could use a slot, actually. You know what? Miles Harden is our nickel. That ain't going to work. I mean, listen, D'Angelo Pons is one of the most highly rated corners by PFF. I think everybody who has watched him play really likes his game. Comes up, tackles well. His man coverage grade is a little lower, sure. But the problem is he's fucking 5'9". That's why he's so small that teams are worried about his ability to play at the NFL level. Play him in the slot. I think he could be a really good slot corner. I don't know that you're going to be able to match him up with anybody. People will try to find ways to get tough matchups for Pons, but he is super, super smart. Really, really well coached. Got Chris Johnson, I like. Oh, man. I feel like Pons. He's out there corner. I'm going Pons, man. I really like him. I like the way he played all year. People can hate it if they want because he's a 5'9" corner. I don't give a shit. He plays really good fucking football. All right, moving on to pick 70. Oh, man. Grayson Halton right there. Would not be terrible. So I've gone wide receiver, tackle, corner. I'm not worried about quarterback. Guard, we can look on the interior real quick. Rutledge is not bad. Let's see who else is in here. Sharuth ain't bad. Bo Stevens ain't bad later on. So I can address that later, especially since I went out and signed with the Browns have signed a couple of offensive linemen, guards specifically, to come in. So I can attack the defensive line. Now, we did have the one signing, got Mason Graham, Kalia Davis, but injuries really hurt that defensive line. I think that we can maybe get a nice piece pass rusher here in Grayson Halton. Position like now don't Max Clare would be a fun thing to have. But in terms of let's fill in some holes, they've already started to address offensive line through free agency. We can shore up that run defense that was really not very good, especially after fucking Malik Collins went out. So you got Malik Collins coming back from the injury, slotted in next to Mason Graham. Let's add a Grayson Halton, who had a really good run defensive grade. But also, man, when I was down at Senior Bowl, he fucking showed out. He was winning rep after rep. He was winning one-on-ones. He was winning in team. I mean, he's a little leaner, 6'2", 292. But somebody like this that can stand up in the run game is really intriguing to me, especially if you can get better with their hands. And, it projects almost like an Aaron Donald type body build. Not saying he's Aaron Donald. Nobody freak out. But it is that similar type build, which makes me very intrigued, especially after watching him play. So I'm going to go Grayson Halton here and shore up that defense, that run defense for the Cleveland Browns. All right, moving on to 107. Let's see who we got up towards the top here. Sharuth right there on the board. That is a nice depth signing. I also have Bo Stevens. I can go a little bit later. Already went corner. We could maybe see another tight end because you got Sal, Canella, and Brendan Bates at the back end. I think we'll probably see some double tight end stuff. But I don't know that they'll invest a lot into it. Anthony Lucas is. That wide receiver room is so fucking thin. Let's go take a look at wide receiver here. And it's very small guys because there should be. So Jacoby Lane is still on the board. Tyron Montgomery is on the board later on. Where did he go? Ted Hurst went at fucking 98. That's where I was looking to go to. Was hopefully seeing Ted Hurst there at 107. He is not. So Ted Hurst going round 3 on PFF. That's the exact same type of receiver. They play a different kind of game. him and Carnell, but they are built very similarly. I can get him later, so we're not going to do that. We're going to go Sharuth here. We're going to get some depth. I don't necessarily love the signings. Obviously, signings needed to be made to help resurrect that Cleveland Browns offensive line. But I think that we're definitely going to need some additional pieces, and injuries have plagued the Browns on the offensive line recently. So we're going to go Sharuth here. 107. Now moving on to 144. Way down the list. All right, let's see some names here. All right. Well, Jacoby Lane is gone. Still got a Tyrod Montgomery later on, though, that I can almost certainly get at my next. Well, I can definitely get him at my next one. I'm not going to wait till 205. But here I'm not going to go. I'm going to take a look at Nadame Tucker. Okay. So, interesting player. 6'3", 250, transferred, moved around, came to a bigger school, in the bigger school being Western Michigan. Had a lot of fucking production this year. Like, you see, all of a sudden goes from no sacks in 2024, but only played one game. 2023 played 8 games to fucking 14 sacks in 2025. That's a great number. But where did kind of all of that come from? And let me pull up his numbers here from the combine. Ran a 4.73. You don't love that, right? 163 on a 10-yard split, but pretty good vertical, decent broad jump. This is a guy that I think that could be a nice bookend, really good run defender, set the edge. Obviously, we'd love to have multiple guys that can rush the passer here in Cleveland. Having somebody on the opposite end would be great, but having an Adame Tucker that can come in the early downs and be a bookend and opposite of Myles Garrett and work in as a rotation, I think could be really beneficial. That run defense, like I said earlier, got fucking tore up at the end of last year. So right here, really good player, just maybe doesn't test all the great measurables, but you just saw a shitload of production. So let's take a flyer here on the Adame Tucker. All right. Now we're going receiver. So I got Carnell Tate, Caden Proctor, D'Angelo Pons, Grayson Halton, Billy Sharuth, and Adame Tucker. Now we're going receiver. Now I got some options on the board. Cyrus Allen, smaller type receiver. Caleb Douglas, he's a much bigger one. I really like Tyrod Montgomery, and I'm not going to have a chance to get him later on. He put up bonkers fucking numbers at John Carroll. Also performed well during the evaluation process, like at the Bowls. Kind of got snubbed from the combine, along with some other players that got snubbed from the fucking combine. Like, there were a few guys, like, in my, obviously, military veteran here, and I have an affinity for the military. Landon Robinson should have been at the fucking combine, but he wasn't. Tyrod Montgomery is one of those guys. I know this is high. I don't give a shit. I'm fucking taking him anyway. Tyrod Montgomery, let's continue to build that wide receiver room in Cleveland. All right, now down to 205, I believe. Where am I at here? I scrolled way the hell up on accident. So there we go. 205 on the board. There's my guy, Eli Heidenreich. Wisniewski there. Lorenzo Styles there. This is the pick. It's Oscar Delp. Okay. Obviously the Georgia connection. big with Todd Monken. Played in line, play a little bit of move, has some pass catching ability, right? But he's not going to be expected to come in right away and be a full time, big time pass catcher because Harold Fan. So let's continue to rework that tight end room because it's going to look a little different with David Njoku gone. So Oscar Delp right here at tight end. And then 248, damn near the last pick in the draft. Browns, one final pick. Man. I'm not taking a goddamn quarterback. That's not what I want to do. There's probably not a single guy that I really, really like. Blake McCree, no. No. Man. Tough picking down here. Tough picking. You know what, though? Oh, I already took an edge, right? I did in the Adame Tucker. So I'm not going to do that again. But you know what I could do? There's not going to be a good one, but I'm going to take the best available corner. I don't know a lot about Devontae Smith. This version of Devontae Smith, that is. I played at Notre Dame. Played in the slot quite a bit. Browns could use another slot corner. That's one of the reasons I went with D'Angelo Pons. So we're going to go with Devontae Smith, the corner, not wide receiver. Jesus. And call it a day. Let's see what this grade comes out to. Yeah, D'Angelo Pons is the one that they hated. I should have drafted Ty Simpson. Fuck no, I should not. Absolutely not. All right, so they like Proctor. They did not like Pons. Halton, okay. Billy, okay. Nadame, they did not like. Tyron Montgomery, they did not like. Oscar Delp, Devontae Smith, All right, so bottom 19% of Browns drafts. I'm okay with that. I don't really give a shit. I got Carnell Tate. I didn't have the tackle there that I really wanted. I'm not trading any of these picks, so I kind of had to stick and pick. I feel like I got better if I'm the Browns, improved the offense and the defense. Took a couple of flyers on some late round, like developmental talent. And in this draft, I think that's kind of what you have to do. There's only a couple of really premier guys at the top. I got one of them in Carnell Tate. So I feel good about that. But that's thank you very much. This was day number 6 of 32 mock drafts in a row, doing one for each team. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm a big Browns fan, so this one did run a little bit longer. I kind of thought it would. But I appreciate everybody who tunes in and checks us out at the No Sleeves Network and everything that we do with the No Sleeves Network. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime you give some of it to me or anybody involved with the No Sleeves Network, I'm forever grateful. I will see you guys tomorrow, but I'm going to get the hell out of here. See you.